architecture and this application I'm trying to build called Matinno. It's like a sustainable platform for material and design.
Fara, I want to thank you for taking the time to be here this evening. It's really, really a pleasure to have you here. I've met you, how many times? Just once, right?
Yes.
And that was at the charity event we were at.
Yes, for children with disabilities.
Yes, with disabilities.
Yeah.
Have you been a part of that organization for a long time?
I know people who are part of it, but personally, that was the first time I went.
Okay.
Because they weren't doing so many events during Corona.
Right, nobody was, but there were a few people in there that managed to get around and went all over the place. On Facebook, they were more active during Corona than without Corona, and I was admiring it. I was saying, wow, but I decided not to for personal reasons. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How long have you been in Japan, first of all?
First of all, thank you for having me here. I have been here for, I believe, altogether nearly 17 years, 16 and a half.
Has this been straight in one time? Or did
No. I was here 2-3 years after I was 18 years old for university studies, and then I took a small break, a year and a half, and then 1 year in Europe, a year and a half in Middle East, and then I came back.
All right.
So,
and where were you born?
I was born in Middle East.
In the Middle East, okay.
Yeah.
And did you grow up there?
No, I lived there only 3 years, 4 years.
Yes. You have siblings?
I do. I have a brother and a sister.
And you told me you're in the middle.
Yes, the one that gets forgotten.
That gets forgotten. So people say, I know we have 2 kids, but we can't. Far is there somewhere.
Yeah.
And what are they? You have an older
sister that is loved like a princess, and then a younger brother, which is like the unique boy of the family.
Okay. Right.
I'm the copy one.
You're the copy one. Now, is your older sister married?
No.
She's not married?
She's not interested.
Not interested yet?
She loves science, so she's all into that.
Is she still in the Middle East, or is she here?
Oh no, she's a doctor. She lives in Europe. She has been living there since like years ago, like childhood kind of thing.
Okay, what about your little brother?
My brother, he used to design cars. He loves cars. And now he lives in Vancouver.
In Vancouver. Is he married?
Canada. Yes, he is married, and he has like 4 cats. He doesn't have any
4,
kids.
okay, I was going to say 4 cats. I said, so you haven't been made an aunt yet?
Yeah, but the thing is that he has been married close to 10 years, but he believes cats are better than children. So he keeps on adopting from shelters.
And his wife isn't interested, obviously, in having kids, so they're enjoying each other.
Yeah, they love it. They love traveling. They love doing what they do. So.
Are you close with your brother and sisters?
Depends what close means.
Well, I mean, I know distance-wise you're not, because you guys live all over the place. But were you raised to be close?
No, I don't think that's the way my family ever taught. My dad used to say the world is so big, you can choose who you want as your real family.
Okay.
Go for it. And we were not ever raised as like a united family kind of.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. And your mother and father still together?
Yeah.
All right. Are they in Europe or in the Middle East?
They live in both. Like they are 6 months here, 6 months there. Okay. Like they're jumping around a lot.
Right. Now you said when you were young, you didn't stay in the Middle East. You moved. How old were you when you moved outside of there?
I actually don't have a memory when I moved. We were in Europe for a long time. That's how my sister went there too, for a very long time. And then I got a scholarship, and then we moved to South Korea, and then I moved to Japan. So we have been moving around a lot. But like South Korea, for example, my sister wasn't with us or stuff like that much. I think she was with us only 1 year. And Japan, I don't think we have. Japan is mostly me.
Did you travel because of his business?
Yes, his business asked him to move around.
And you moved all over the place. So what are the places, where have you been? Where have you lived?
I have lived, this is such a hard question. Let me, because we moved so much. Like I have to say, from elementary school to high school, I changed school 7-8 times.
Wow.
I changed countries 6-7 times, so it's very hard for me to, because I stopped caring after a while, you know? You just get in a plane and go wherever, as long as you can fit everything in your little bag. we were in Europe, maybe Italy, France, and then Germany. My sister was in Netherlands, so I was a little bit there with her. And then South Korea and Japan, it's me. And I think there are 2 other places, but I have really vague memories of them when I was very child.
So what kind of child were you? Were you more academic or were you more sports minded?
I was the kid that was climbing every tree and stealing the birds' eggs because no one taught me you shouldn't touch those things because they were colorful. But I never really I was actually the first in class always. I never really studied, but somehow I was the first in class. Okay. I think I was smart when I was a kid. Now I don't have it anymore. But I love climbing trees. Like anywhere we go, there's a tree, I'm somewhere on top of it. Everyone knows. And school used to send so many complaints to my parents about it. Because I remember in Italy, all the schools have like trees and gardens and stuff. It's not like Japan, it's concrete based, you know. And I remembered so many complaints they would get, like your child doesn't come down. We don't have insurance for children climbing trees. But I still was the first in school, so not sporty, but not really academic, kind of a
But
kid.
did you like to read? Did you have any books like read? So, because some people like to sit home and they like to go through stories.
I hate that.
You didn't like that?
I didn't like that
Did you
at
watch
all.
television a lot?
Yeah, television.
What are some of the things that you liked on television?
The thing is that it used to be so different when I was a kid. The animations and stuff weren't like this CG stuff. I remember in Italy, most of the animation were these Japanese, meaningful, deep animations that they were translated into Italian. That's how I learned Italian at first, because I wasn't going to school and I couldn't communicate with the kids at the park. So
what was your first language?
My,
that you remember most?
My first language in school was Italian, but this is before I went to school.
I see, okay.
So I had to like learn Italian from TV, and I was watching these Japanese animations constantly, and they were so deep. Like if you think about it, old animations are so deep, while the new ones are like just weird cartoon characters. Before it was like this girl who comes from this really poor family, she wants to succeed in school and get a scholarship, and she's studying day and night. You know, you see that and you're like, I want to try to be that.
It's stuff that left you with an impression.
Exactly.
It felt like it was a life really being led over again, but it was just in a comic form.
Yes, exactly.
That is interesting. So you like those kind of things?
Yeah, I used to watch them every day.
What about movies? Did you like to watch like dramas, or were you more into comedies, or did you like action?
I never watched movies.
Oh, you didn't watch movies at all?
As a child. Actually, the first time I went to a movie theater, cinema, I was 18 or 19, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
TV for me was just animations, and some of these animations, not everything. Like the little frogs trying to win the big bad bird.
Right.
Those kind of things. Other than that, we were in school like from 7:30 a.m. to 4 or 5 p.m. and then do 2-3 hours homework and then watch a bit animation.
Well, since you weren't close with your brother or your sister, your brother, I remember growing up, I had 2 best friends. One through elementary school, his name was John Goller, and then I had one in high school, Raymond Johnson. Both of them have ceased, both deceased by now, and because I had friends on the neighborhood, but I didn't have best friends. Did you have any friends that you remember, even now, that you kind of think back? You know, they don't have to be people that are with you, but people that you said, that's who I stayed with a lot, and we played a lot together, or...
No, I didn't actually, because we moved so much, and when you move different countries, sometimes you don't understand the language. So for kids that you can't communicate with, and right now you have this Facebook and all these things that you can connect to people, right? Years when I was a kid, there was no internet. There was no phone. There's nothing. So it's not like I remember the cell phones were like these big black boxes. That's how old I am, by the way, and people I used to meet, honestly, at first I would try to ask their names, but after a while you don't even care about names.
So you didn't have, do you have friends that, who do you kind of remember in your childhood? Some kids probably impressed you.
Actually, No one. Is that weird?
Did you have teachers that you felt, wow, I really like that teacher?
Yes, but she died from cancer 6 months after.
What grade was this?
As elementary, third year, I think, or fourth year.
And you really liked her?
Yes, she
What about her?
She had a kid. Her husband, I think, had left her. She had a kid, and she used to bring the kid to school, and I used to play with her child.
Was this in Italy?
This is in Italy.
Okay, yes.
And she couldn't get, I think, kindergarten. There wasn't a good support and stuff. So I remember she would sometimes bring her kid, and I used to play with her kid. And the good thing is that I didn't need Italian language to play with the newborn child. So I had sometimes something to do during the breaks between classes. And she used to always give me like a lot of, she helped me a lot with Italian too. And she used to give me a lot of confidence, like, oh no, don't worry about it, or bring me cookies. Because a lot of the kids used to bring lunch to school, but my parents were too busy to give us lunch and stuff like that. So if we want to buy, but the teacher used to bring me lunch sometimes.
And you loved her for that.
I loved her. Like, she used to make me cookies and little apple cakes. But she actually passed away 6 months, I believe, from cancer. She took it very long.
You mean from the time you met her? So you knew her for 6 months?
I knew her only for 6 months.
So she was suffering while you knew her and just not telling you?
I am not sure about that part. Maybe she didn't know or something, or maybe she found out.
Right.
But she went absent after 6 months, and they told me she's very sick. And then after a while, like they told my parents that, oh yeah, her teacher had cancer, so she's not gonna come back. And after a while, like, yeah, we didn't hear anything from her. And then they said it was like last stage. So, so it was implied that she passed away. Yeah.
But you were just in the 3rd grade, right?
Yeah, 3rd or 4th grade, around that.
Trying to figure it out. So what subjects what were your biggest interests in school? Because you always did the best, but what was your things you liked?
Biology. I was really good.
Wait, elementary school you did not do biology.
We did sciences. We had sciences.
And that's what did you like about it? What parts of it did you like?
It's a story. Everything was a story.
Such as? Give me an example.
For example, how do I say it? It's so hard. Okay, there was this animation in Italy when we watched it. It's actually a Japanese one that it's like the story of the body, human body. It's like little red blood cells walking around, and then there's these viruses attacking, and then these white blood cells come with their cars, you know. And I loved that so much. So in the science classes that they used to take us to pick up leaves, everything felt like it's like a story. It has its own animation to it connected, and I love that so much. But with math, I wasn't bad. I was always good, and I got full grades, but it just was boring. It was predictable always, you know. It's just 2 + 2 is always 4, you know. But with science, like, you could mix it up. You could I don't know, come up with different stories, see different sides of it and how it reacts. So like I used to love, like we used to gather leaves, different colors, the veins in it, draw them. But my school was very unique as well. I believe I used to go to a lot of international expensive schools, as you can see. So we used to have these specific classes. Like I was in middle school and we had like astronomy and geology classes, which normally you wouldn't have in normal classes. And I loved like watching supernova pictures of these dust going around. So science, I love science so much.
And did they let you look in telescopes and stuff like that too?
Yes, everything. We did that. We used to go to science museums for things. We used to do, what do you call it? The Cosmo thingy. There's this huge
observatory.
Yes, observatories. They would take us. They would make us watch these movies. Everyone was bored because they were like, we can never go there. But I loved it so much. I'm like, just because I can't go, I want to touch it. You know, it was so exciting. Just imagining how big they are and how small and pointless we are. You know, if I could go back, I would choose astronomy.
So, do you ever think of yourself? So, how did you feel like looking at the Earth from the back? Like you said, we're so small when you really think about it, but yet we feel so big when we're here.
Yes, because I think it's because we define things through our own perception. That is the thing. When you look outside, there is no perception of yourself anymore. You cannot put yourself on the center of it. But then the second you come back to where you are, everything goes through your own perception, your eye. You become the center of your decision making, and you have to make that big. It's true. If you have no sense of self, then you cannot decide. You know, it's to make decisions, you need that. So it's acceptable. However, I have a bit of a kind of an OCD kind of thing. I'm super hyperactive normally, and I talk really fast, and my brain is all over the place. So the only time I could calm down is like you look at something that you cannot reach. It's like infinity big, and it's so big that you cannot put a size on it, and that just calms you down. That goes like, you know what? Your brain goes like, I cannot process this, so I'm gonna just go down. And I love that feeling so much. It was
that must be why you told me there's one more thing that slowed you down.
Yeah.
Being pregnant.
Yeah, the baby. Yeah, because it took my energy away.
That's a different kind of slowing down.
Yes.
How far are you now?
Actually, it's going to be born in 12 days.
12 days?
Yes.
You're going to have an October baby?
Yes, mid-October.
That's my birthday.
In
October, yes.
I hope it
That's
becomes
beautiful.
like you.
Oh,
Not
come
like
on,
me.
come on. That's so beautiful.
Thank
that
you
is
so
nice.
much.
So your husband, how long have you been married?
Actually, we have been together for 8 years, but we got married a year and a half ago. Yes, exactly. A year and 10 months ago, exactly. Actually.
And you told me your husband, which I thought would have been, since you're in Japan, Japanese. He is not. He's Australian.
Oh yes, Japanese men cannot tolerate someone like it. There's no way they can.
Because when you're not pregnant, you are hyper. You have to be looking in the sky to be able to be cool.
Oof, yes. I'm someone who sleeps 3 hours a night, and she wants to do thousands of things. He just sits there and looks at me and says, and then whenever he can help, he helps. But I don't think Japanese men would would want a wife who speaks 5 languages and wants to run companies. And
tell me the languages you speak.
I speak Persian. I speak Japanese, Italian. I understand Korean. English, I believe I do kind of understand English to some extent.
Do you feel you have a knack for languages? It's easy for you to pick them up? Because 5 languages, that's...
Yeah, but I do French and Spanish as well. But the thing is that I think language needs empathy. A lot of people think you need a lot of brains for language, but I believe language needs a bit of empathy. So you will see that there are people who study French for 20 years, but they still cannot speak. Like I personally cannot speak because I studied this in school. However, I'm not sure if I have a knack for languages, but I do have empathy towards places I lived in, towards the people. So I try to connect with them, and language comes as the easiest way to connect with those people.
Wow.
So.
You have most definitely mastered languages, but the other thing too is you're quite the business person. Now when did that start? Because when you came to Japan, you came here as a student?
Yes.
Okay.
I was 19 years old.
And what were you studying?
Architecture.
Architecture. So did you get a degree in that?
Yes, I'm still doing my PhD that never ends.
Okay.
The PhD that never ends.
All right. So then, how did you use that? How are you applying what you learned in college, or you're not?
Oh, I am. Actually,
Okay.
I have my own little architecture studio. I do.
Is that what your company is? An
Actually,
architecture company?
2. I have 2.
What are they?
So one of them is I do sustainable design. So I used to work with big corporate Japan, and I know how much architecture wastes. To be honest, we are very, very wasteful people. More than half the pollution in the world and all the CO2 emission everyone talks about is architecture, actually. More than half of it. Actually, in that, 30% of it is materials alone, to mine it and bring all this city to you. That's architecture. So I quit my big company work, corporate life, and I started my own little thing. I do sustainable design, so I design beautiful things, but with sustainable materials, by decreasing the CO2 emissions, by caring about what choices we make, and bringing a little bit more of an innovative construction technologies, because architecture is just ancient, it never changes.
Would I be able to recognize any of the work that you've done here?
I have done some work here. Actually, we recently opened a co-working office and a coffee shop too, sustainable coffee shop close to Yaesu, Tokyo Station.
Okay.
We have one there. The G8 building in Ise was mine. That the heads of the G8, now there are 7, I think they kicked Russia out. So that building, media center, I designed that. There's some buildings I have designed around here, but I don't do huge buildings anymore. I used to work with like Nikken Sekira, they do towers and stuff like that, which I think is a waste and the population doesn't need them anymore, to be honest.
How long have you had that company, the one that does architecture?
I have started it 2.5 years ago, closely. Okay. I registered it 1.5 years ago, but I have been doing it for 2.5 years.
Okay. What's the other company do?
The other one, it's like NPO. I help startups with like introducing them to mentors. I used to work with other foundations like Nippon Foundations and other foundations to help social good. So any startup who wanted to do an impact innovation, because I wanted to do it, but I couldn't find someone to help me. So we came up with this program that it would accept half foreign entrepreneurs, half Japanese, and 30% female entrepreneurs. And then seed stage, like beginners. And we would give them free mentorship, free lectures, free PR. Like you could use PR Times or Amazon, like data, this cloud and stuff like that. So I was doing that for like 3.5 years.
You're still doing that?
I actually am quitting that because it takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, and gathering funds from all these foundations is quite difficult. And during Corona, a lot of the lectures just became on Zoom, and foundations don't want to risk. They wouldn't rent us like meeting rooms to gather with the startups and stuff like that. So I actually kind of put a halt on it this year from April. I was doing it until this coming April, but I put a halt on it.
So you're focusing totally on just your architecture?
Architecture and this application I'm trying to build called Matinno. It's like a sustainable platform for material and design. So you can go on it, and if you're a designer, you can find sustainable materials you can use to help you design what you want.
Is that up and running now?
No, I'm still coding.
You're designing.
We started.
You code as well? Well, not really, but you understand what needs to be done. I hear you.
I'm not that good at coding. I can pretend.
But you know people that are, and you make sure they do it right.
Yes. So like I did the UI UX design with some friends too. So, and they're coding it. We started in April actually.
You have partners in your company, or are you solo?
We're 8 people right now with Matinno. With Matinno, we're 8 people, but I own 85% of Matinno mostly. We're looking for like angel investors or people who care about sustainability and want to join us.
So how do they reach you? How do people reach you? Do you have a website?
Yeah, we do. It's called, for Matinno, is like Matinno.co. That there's a story, what we want to do. I made some movies and things like that.
Matinno, spell it?
It's M-A-T, material, like material.
Okay.
I-N-N-O, innovation, like Matinno.co.
Okay. And if they get that, they can find out everything they need to know about your... I mean, to help donate, you want them to donate, right?
Yeah. They will find out the story, what we want to build, movies of it, the UX design of it.
Will they see what you've done?
Yeah, they can see videos of what we have done so far. But my own company for architecture is called New Norm Design. It's different from Matinno. So, yeah, I do a lot of weird things.
But that's what Matinno's the one that you're just starting to do.
In the April, yes.
In April,
we're talking to manufacturers. So far, everyone loves it because Japanese manufacturers have promised the government to decrease their CO2 emissions by 30%, but they don't know how to do it. So Matinno actually gives them the platform to do that. So, and architecture material is a $500 billion market in Japan. So even if we get 1%,
it'd be good.
Yeah, so we just need more support in some extent, because it's very hard as everyone talks about supporting female entrepreneurs, foreigners, but in the end it's a lot more marketing than actually supporting.
So how do you feel? Do you think that's really difficult for you here being a female?
Yeah, definitely. In Japan it's very difficult. Japan, I think, even while I'm pregnant, a lot of clients treat you like you have some kind of a weird disease, you know? Like, oh, please don't do stairs. I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I have been going to construction site every day like this. So it's they start treating you like you're not part of society somehow anymore.
So why do you stay here then? Why do you stay?
I know. I actually wanted to go to Australia with my husband, and then Corona hit.
Your husband's in Australia now?
No, actually he came here. He used to be there, but because of Corona, he couldn't travel anymore. Because his job used to be going, he was a field engineer for...
So he's doing his work and you're doing yours, so they're separate, they're not the same?
They're not the same, they're completely separate. He tried to help me, but as you
know how
can
that
see,
worked out.
Yeah, that did not go so well, because I'm very picky, very precise, and he's like mechanical engineer that cares about machinery, you know what I mean? Like a field engineer, like supervisor, and I'm like the person who goes into the emails and checks every vocabulary. And he's like, I don't even write emails. I don't care. So we tried, but yeah, I was very disappointed about his business mindset kind of approach. And he told me I'm a freak, control freak, so that didn't go so well.
No, I have a friend, if you look at the podcast, David put it this way. He said, when people call him a control freak, he says, no, I'm a control enthusiast. And I said, that's what I'm going to start using. That is really a better way of putting it.
I will use that, definitely.
You're a control enthusiast.
Yeah.
Control freak.
So the issue is that when you work with your partner, because you at home too, you're together, and work you're together. So at home you say, go buy milk, like yogurt and this and that, and then at work you're telling him, do this, do that. He feels like he's being told what to do all day. So yeah.
Yeah,
men, I think they're not so used to. I'm sorry, but not.
It does. It's true. I understand totally. So what are your future plans? Are basically to work on these two companies. Do you have anything else that you...
No. I was hoping to become a board member of like an NPO kind of a thing to help with the social impact. Because right now I'm closing the impact tech side. Maybe as a part-time I wanted to become, or animal shelter, because I love animals. But other than that, I think those two would pretty much take all my time. Maybe this kid would take another 20% off.
I would think so. Do you plan on being in Japan for the foreseeable future, or are you actually thinking about...
I stopped planning, to be honest. I was
taking it day by day.
Yeah, I used to be someone who used to have a 2-year plan, 5-year plan, and a 10-year plan. So far, that went really well until I was 32. After that, it's just I don't have control over it anymore. So like Corona happened, before that a client came, and that client came, and then I wanted to move to this city in Australia. Fires happened and burned down, and then floods happened. So I just take it day by day, see how it goes. And to be honest, countries I think make no sense anymore. You can do anything if you have internet right now, right? It doesn't matter where you are. It's where your mind wants to be at this point, right? So
here's a question I end with everyone. What advice would you give 20-year-old Fara?
Don't care so much about what other people think of you, and look at life as a game that you have to gather skills to level up. Don't force yourself to be perfect to level up. Just gather the skills first, and then slowly level up. Maybe it's very hard for you to understand that part, what I'm trying to say, but if I could tell myself something, I would be like, just chill, gather the skills, and then build a strategy to level up. Not like fight with everything around you in your mind to make everything perfect. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
It's very hard.
That's good advice. That is
Thank
good
you
advice.
so much. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for watching this podcast. Make sure you press like and subscribe. And remember, it's all unknown, so reach for the stars because you're too blessed to be stressed.